An exhilarating Saturday night of football. We've had Chelsea 1, Brentford 0 in a West London derby. 7 consecutive wins on the bounce for Chelsea in London derbies. They rode their luck at times. The post twice being struck by Brentford. Mendy pulling off world-class after world-class after world-class save. A few players missing from this Chelsea team. They got a wonderful lead from a brilliant strike from Ben Chilwell in the first half. Not a vintage performance. Not a world-class performance. Not a game that's going to live on in the memory as far as Chelsea fans are concerned, but certainly the kind of game that can make Chelsea champions of England. It moves them back top of the table, as you can see here. They sit there on 19 points, 1 ahead of Liverpool, with still only 3 goals conceded for the entirety of this Premier League season. Brentford themselves they'll find themselves unlucky. They'll be gutted with losing the way in which they did. They had so much play. They play excellent football. They really, really do. And they're brave and they're decisive and they have speed in their team. Of course, good technical football players as well. But Chelsea reigned supreme. They came out on top. They put themselves on 19 points. You can start to see for a few weeks, the Liverpools and Chelsea's, City as well, just behind them. They're going to start to pull away from the Man Uniteds and everybody else. It's whether or not somebody else has got the consistency to really challenge Manchester United for that other top 4 place. Could it be an Everton, a Brighton, a Wolves, or a Tottenham? Could Arsenal be on the resurgence? As you can see, down there in 13th right now, still to play. Not going to play, of course, until Monday night football. The West Hams and Tottenhams are going to fancy closing that gap in that top 4 race tomorrow. Brighton currently in that position. But Chelsea fans, I want to gauge your views. I want to gauge your opinions on how you think tonight's game went. I'm going to go to the comment section here first of all to see what you've got to say. Mendy, world class. We've got the poll running right now in the live comment section that you can go and take a look at. Currently, 89% of you say, yes, he is world class. And I hear a lot of people play down shot stopping as if being a brilliant, world-class shot stopper is something to not celebrate. I find that a strange concept indeed. It's something a lot of people are not very good at. And he's amazing at it. To a point now where I watch Benjamin Mendy and I don't feel like Chelsea are going to concede. And tonight, of course, they had Sarr and young Chalobah in the team. And you can see the inexperience kind of seeping through a little bit at times. But there was Mendy doing what top-class goalkeepers are meant to do. Saving the ball. You're not lucky because your goalie made saves. It's like saying you're lucky that your striker is good at scoring goals. You're lucky because your defensive midfielder breaks up play. You're lucky because you've got 3 players in your team that have got the ability to press. You're lucky because you've got a player that can pass. A goalie that makes great saves on a regular occasion is not luck. It's brilliant recruitment. That's to be celebrated. But yeah, top-class performance from him, no doubt about it. Thank you, Paul Ross, for signing up and renewing your membership as a Academy member. Thank you very much, sir. TJ says, Mendy has been world-class for over a year now. And I think many people would agree. We've kind of been sidetracked by goalkeepers that are almost midfield level-esque when it comes to their ability to play the ball. And I do think that's overstated somewhat. We had a super chat I missed earlier from Juan. Sorry, I missed it. It says, Mendy, world-class, no debate. Strongest defense in the league, no debate. 3 past Virgil's Liverpool, sit down, bring us the title, is what Juan's got to say. Chelsea's boy 11, man like Ryan over in Jamaica. How you doing, bro? Says, what are you all after saying about world-class Mendy? Bashir says, penalty for Brentford ruled mistakenly offside. Yes, that is very true. That is something I wanted to bring up. They haven't shown any more replays. Clearly, Tony was onside. I think it was Ben Chilwell playing him on. So they should have had a penalty tonight as well. So yeah, that means that element there, definitely Chelsea rode their luck. There's no doubt about it. The penalty decision, they were unlucky in relation to that. I definitely saw that one. Let's do some more of these super chats that are coming through here. Igal will be joining us very soon to have his say as well. I'm going to share the link now. If you guys want to phone up, we want to hear from some of you. Give us a call via StreamYard. There's a super chat from LFC Wesley. LFC Wesley said, here it is, I found it. Said, very impressive from Brentford. Chelsea's defence is unreal. Chelsea players totally bought in Tuchel's system. Unlike United, I'm worried. I knew he would struggle, but I like Sarr. He's getting stuck in like Trevor. The rest were piss poor today. I think we actually need to sell Werner now, is what Paul Ross says about that one. Let's keep going through some of these comments here from my wonderful viewers. Mendy was world class in the second half. It looked like Chelsea with a relegation team fighting to conserve their lead against a top side. Brentford are brilliant. They really do move the ball well. My point is this, though. Chelsea shouldn't get outplayed like that. Liverpool shouldn't be, what Brentford do, they remind me of, they're just aggressive. They're like a fighter in the ring that's willing to open up an exchange and trade. They're willing to take one on the jaw. They're willing to test their jaw resistance against yours. And at times tonight, Chelsea didn't look like they wanted the fight. That's the only thing I'd say negative about Chelsea tonight. There were times where they didn't look like they wanted it. They could have taken it to them. I remember Leeds doing this a little bit, the early part of their time in the Prem, where they just go at teams and everybody was like, a bit reluctant. I wonder if teams maybe learn to work Brentford out a little bit. Maybe second half of the season, teams learn how to exploit it. Maybe they take a few pastings because they attack in numbers. They're not negative. It's not being detrimental. It's just surely Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal have better quality players from front to back. Now, I remember watching an interview on Baller Talk with Tony, and he was saying, we're not scared of Arsenal. We go out there and play them. And that's the point. They're fearless. But when people are fearless, in any sport, you leave yourself susceptible. When you're aggressive, you leave yourself susceptible. So it was intriguing to see why that didn't happen today. But I'd love your thoughts on why. That's what I'm really intrigued by here. David here says United have a glass jaw. You need glass jaw. Yeah, Man United. Listen, you're not going to get me defending United today. Have you seen Sarr? This is what a world-class coach does. Sarr, Chalobah, Loftus-Cheek, put them in their place. I missed some super chats as well. Hanji says CFC not winning the title with Big Rom. Bottles, so many chances. Meanwhile, Vardy has, where's that comment on? Vardy has Bottles so many chances. Meanwhile, Vardy has more goals in the league than him and Ronaldo and Kane combined. Juan CFC says Brentford are an amazing team, though. Puts us on the ropes, unlike Liverpool when we had them a man down. It's a really good point. That's a really good point being made there. Let's do some more of these chats. Most intense game I've had an issue with Kovacic passing. Paul Ross is back with another super chat for us here. He says, we was getting boxed and boxed and boxed. If you get hit, get out of the corner, and we wasn't just sitting there. What the F should have been 1-1 in fairness. Yeah, it was one of them games. But if you conceded, I don't think any Chelsea fan would have gone, we deserved it today. Now, I totally agree with you there, and I'm sure most Chelsea fans will say it. 3 points against Brentford is all that matters, regardless of the performance. Big clubs have played them already and dropped points. Absolutely. And that's why Chelsea fans should be celebrating tonight, because the great thing for you is you know that you're not going to have average performances week in, week out. You'll be back you'll kill it in the Champions League. You'll be great again next week, but you've won. What Chelsea have done the majority of times this season is when they've been poor, they've won. The only team where they were poor against and lost was City. And even then they had chances. Mendy, top of the league, defensive masterclass is what JJ has got to say there. We're going to go to the calls now. I want to know what people are thinking, feeling, saying. Who have I got in the call section? Latimus Prime's there. We've got Igal. We've got Alex. We've got Leslie. All waiting. Man like Matt. I'm going to go to Matt first of all as a Chelsea fan. We're going to get some more people on to have their say. Please get this stream at least past the 500-600 mark for us, my people. Give it a smash now. Share it on your social media streams, and please make sure you subscribe to The Terrace. Young Matt coming on now to have his say with us. Let's do it. Matt's here with us now. What do you want to say, bro?
Yeah, good evening, Terry. Also, good morning to here in Australia, 5 a.m. Pick up to the New Zealand and Australia viewers watching. But Again, a performance that we took the 3 points home. I'm very, very happy. The performance was not great, but at the end of the day, we got the 3 points. Now, to anyone thinking Mendy is not world class, needs to double check and look at what Mendy just did tonight. He's done this multiple times. He's saved us, and today he's proved he's winning the Yashin Award 100%. 100% has to win it. If not, it's rigged. Thankfully, Anthony Taylor did his job. A bit of it, he was an unbiased ref today. Thankfully, but besides that, Kovacic, Werner, Lukaku, they need to be a bit more better when they're getting the ball, when they're progressing to the goal line, and just ultimately Lukaku is not the best. Hence why we didn't, take him off. That's why we took him off. That's why Havertz came on for him because I don't think he was performing to his best standards. So he needs to definitely work on that. I really support Lukaku like usual. Every Chelsea fan should do the same. And to this park the bus rubbish, well, we kind of had to because in the last 10 minutes there we had our third defender on Maling Sarr, who did fantastically. That's what a world class manager does. They bring on our third centre back, and then he performs outstanding. Looking like our
Yeah.
first centre back there. So I
Yep.
really were proud of the team. Some aspects at the same time, we do need to improve.
I need to ask you a question. Do you feel you were lucky? Do you feel you were lucky to not concede a penalty? This was ruled offside against Tony. For me, it looks like Ben Chilwell's playing him onside. Do you believe you were a little bit lucky to not concede a penalty today?
No, I think Tony. I don't think Chalobah touched him. If I recall, I think he was onside, but I don't think Chalobah touched him at all. So I don't think we were lucky in a sense. I don't think it was a penalty at all. I think Chalobah
Okay, so
didn't even
you don't
touch
think
him.
the foul was a penalty? It kind of looked from the outside looking in. It looks as though the ref. It looked like he was going to give it. He was waiting, and he looked at the linesman to see if the linesman was going to put the flag up. But yeah, it's an intriguing one. Quite a few Brentford fans feel aggrieved online about that. Matt, though, great call, mate. Thank you for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Thank you very much
Take care.
indeed. Thank you, Matt. And I am going to come on your podcast. We will get a date sorted soon. I've been
Take your
mad
time,
busy,
bro.
bro. I promise
No
I will get
problem.
on. I promise you. Thank you. We've got Daniel and David and Prime and Igal all backstage. We'll bring on with the panel soon. We're going to do some of your calls first of all. Alex is with us here now. Alex is a Chelsea fan. What do you want to say, Alex?
I just want to say that I am not happy, actually. Like, we won, but I'm not happy at all. At all. Like, I'm really, really mad about today's performance. Like, one thing that I saw, and one thing, like, we just were very toothless when it came to creating chances and, being really threatening. We were really toothless. In the second half, we only had one shot. Brentford had 10 and 5 on target. Like, we were really, really, really toothless. Like, I'm happy at the fact that we won, right? I'm happy at the fact that we won. We're top of the league. We're still in the title race. I'm fine with that. But our performance today, I hate it. I'm really, really mad. Like, I'm not happy at
Mate,
all.
I do hear you. The only problem I've got is you've got a really bad line. It's cracking up quite a lot. So I'm sorry. I do hear where you're coming from. It's probably your microphone rubbing against something, to be fair. I do hear where you're coming from. But what I would say to Chelsea fans, my view is just it isn't like you perform badly week in, week out. But I do get the frustration with the performance today. Alex, top man, thank you for calling in and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Bycroft here says Chelsea didn't have Rudiger and Silva after the break to come in and play with their back line. Mendy is superhuman. A moment of silence for Scholes. Scholes said something bad about him before. I don't know. I don't know what he said. So I must admit that's for Chelsea fans probably know what he said. I missed that one, unfortunately. Rowe here says, I don't see any team in Europe who is going to score more than 2 goals against Chelsea. This is why we are going to be champions, is what Rowe's got to say. Next up, I'm going to speak to Nathaniel. Nathaniel's a Chelsea fan. What are you saying, bro?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes, my brother. What do you want to say?
Listen, brilliant performance by Chelsea. Chilwell, this guy's he's back to his best now. Mendy, he's scarily good. Like, when he came in, I was tentative. I didn't want him to come in, but he's scarily good. Like, he just makes some world class saves. I don't think he's world class yet. He needs to end the season well. But listen, Liverpool fans, keep crying in the comments. You can't chat to us. No, Liverpool fans can't chat to us. You're not on our level. Listen, Salah, I don't want to listen. He's good, but Hazard's clear. Come on, man. Hazard's clear of him. We'll win that league.
Hazard's clear of who?
Salah.
Mohamed Salah. Oh, come on. How long ago did Hazard leave? Like 2 years? Come on. Come on.
Yeah, but in a prime though, in a prime, who's better, Terry? Be honest. Listen, wait. Listen, I know HH maybe change your opinion about Hazard, but you've got to be honest. But just forget HH. Who do you think's personally better? Forget HH about his Ronaldo Hazard debate.
Okay,
Who do
who
you
would who would I pick?
Yeah,
If
prime.
I had to prime Mo Salah.
Oh, come on, man. But
No,
okay,
and it's not a disrespect. Mo Salah just more efficient. Both amazing football players, but if they're both amazing and one scores more than the other, I'm picking the one that scores more. That's just my view. But listen, if I could have them both, I'd have them both. But you asked me to pick between the two. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them ones there. Listen, Nathaniel, thanks for coming on, my friend, and having your say. Top man. Thank you. Next up, Abs is here. What are you saying, Abs?
Oh, shit. Well, we were basically backs against the wall them last 15 minutes. And what I'll say is for the rest of the league, Brentford really showed that they are a very, very good footballing side. And, you know, they're going to cause a lot of teams a lot of problems this year. But you know what the beauty of that is, Terry? Is that all these teams, like Southampton, Brentford, you know, Aston Villa, teams who the other top 4 teams have dropped points to, we've beaten all of them. Like Southampton, I'm not trying to throw shade, but you didn't beat Southampton, neither did City. We went and cleaned up. Brentford, Liverpool drew with them. We went and cleaned up. Aston Villa, and again, I may sound shady, but you did lose to Villa at home. We cleaned up with them. So the thing is for me, if we're gonna go clean up with these little mid-table teams like Villa, Everton, Wolves, then we may have a chance of a shout of winning the title. That's how Fergie used to win his league titles: beat all the small teams and then and make sure beat the big teams at home, and then away try and get a win or a point wherever he could, and that's how he was so successful as he is. So yeah, I was pretty happy, and that's just what it is. We just move on. Norwich next, and we just need to do the same thing.
Yeah, mate, listen, I would be happy as a Chelsea fan today, not with the performance, but the fact that you haven't got a manager like Ollie where you're putting in these performances 70, 80, 90% of the time, and you feel like at any moment you're going to get a slap like we got today. So, yeah, I don't think the same reason to panic or be angry is needed when it comes to Chelsea Football Club. No doubt about it at all. Abs, great call, mate. Thank you for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. I'm going to bring the panel out now. We are going to take more calls in the show later, so stay with us. We're nowhere near that 600 like mark yet, people. So go and get that done. Smash it for us. Subscribe to the Terrace. Igal, Prime, Daniel, David, all about to come on and join me now live on the Football Terrace. We'll get them all on now. Let's do this. Gentlemen, how are we?
Good.
Listen to Daniel, seeing Daniel without the curtains throws me. It throws me. Like, it throws me.
Where's the curtains, man?
I'm at my boys' yard, isn't it?
Ah, there we go. There we go. I'll start with the Chelsea boys. David, give me your take on that game.
Happy with a win. That simple. I don't think there's much need more to be said. Of course, Brentford are a good footballing team. I've been talking about it for years now. They use XG really, really well. And anyone who's denying that they were going to be a good team is just fooling themselves. So to get 3 points away, that's a really good result, regardless of the performance, because the performance has loads of caveats. Obviously, it's after international break. Teams have barely played with players have barely played with each other. They had a whole 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Rudiger and Silva were both out. So there are loads of caveats for this game for why the performance wasn't great. But ultimately, we won. And we're top of the table, and that's what you want to see. And what it shows is that we can do our backs are against the wall and we can still hold out, which we already knew we could do because we did it against Liverpool. But we've now done it again against a really good team. And I think personally, they didn't dominate us like they did to other teams. Other teams really, really, really struggled to handle them. In that first half, in the first half, we were doing quite well. The only time when it started looking a bit ropey was towards the end of the second half when they were really piling on pressure because they really needed the goal. But, I'm happy with the result. Performance.
What you just said is not factually correct, though. They did dominate you the whole second half.
No, did they really dominate us the whole second half?
When you look at the chances you created the second half, you created 0.02 chances XG.
Yeah, I know, but they weren't really creating anything really that serious until the second half of that second half anyway.
I don't know. I think watching, they may not have always ended up with a shot, but I felt from sort of the 60th minute till the end of the game, At any moment they could have scored. What they lacked, and that's why when people talk about them dominating teams, and I get they play a very aggressive and open style of football, they don't have the level of quality. Like some of their chances fall to Lukaku, they win. Like that's the point. But I do think they dominated the proceedings. You wouldn't have known that your star player cost nearly 30 million more than their stadium to build. Like that's my thing here. And I know a gal's come on, and I know what a gal's here for. A gal's here to say, see, I told you losing to them weren't as embarrassing as everybody tried to make out. It is. With the money that our football clubs spend, we shouldn't be getting like outplayed by a team like that. We spend enough, and we should have the coaching staffs and the squads enough to not have that happen. It's a real big props to them for letting it be done.
I disagree.
But the difference is for someone like a Chelsea is that Chelsea won't get outplayed for a second half against a team like Brentford 10, 15 times a season. Man United and Arsenal do. That's the embarrassing part. It happens on occasions like today, but for me, and plus, no one really worked them out yet. Give them another 3 or 4 months when teams have watched them play, the tacticians have reviewed them and done that. I remember, Leicester and remember Sheffield United, their first year here. And then what happened after lockdown to the relegation, people just worked them out. I'm not saying they will get worked out, but that's my point. Danny, what do you want to say, mate? Sorry.
No, there's a couple things to that. Obviously, I agree with some things that people said, and other things I disagree. I think when you're talking, you're totally right. 60th minute, we got dominated. I disagree with David in terms of it wasn't that much of a domination. Look, we were camped. Like we were literally camped in our half. Brentford played really well. We struggled with the aerial threat. I think Malang Sarr and Trevor Chalobah actually started the game. Christensen as well. They started the game really well, aggressive on the front foot, winning a lot of the headers as well. But then it slowly started turning and it became a bit hard to watch. Like heart and mouth stuff. Like we were struggling really. And in another game, Brentford scored 4. Like let's be honest. Like there were a number of chances. We have Edouard Mendy to thank for the brilliant saves that he made. He saved us in that game single-handedly. You're talking about someone who, for so long, I've been telling people and trying to educate people. You don't need to have a De Gea-like performance to be a world-class keeper. But obviously, because De Gea saves Man United time and time again, people need to see that from Mendy before he can be considered world-class. Well, there's your performance now. He's done it a couple times last season. Now he's outrightly been the standout person in the game, and he was the person who saved us. He was basically Chelsea's brick wall that didn't get shut down. In terms of the point that you made, I think football has changed. I do agree with the fact that the level of investment, fair enough, Man United and Arsenal, they bought better players, so should have the better team. However, football's changed in the sense that so much tacticians, like you mentioned, are involved. So much tactics goes into the game. People understand the game much more than they did before. Football's almost like you're at school. You need to study. You need to go home, study, watch the tapes, learn the things that they've given to you, and then come out and execute it on the pitch. And sometimes on the day, things happen. Different factors happen where they're like, the other guy doesn't have the day he was supposed to have. So you're actually performing at a better standard in that match. So I personally think, obviously, again, yes, investment does matter in terms of you having the better players, meaning you should be performing better. However, I disagree in the fact that football has changed so much so that these smaller teams are able to apply so much. And one thing that's never changed in football is that the smaller teams always rise up to the occasion against the bigger teams. It's just that the level of performance will increase naturally. Do you know what I mean?
And do you know what, Dan? I totally get all of that. My point is more this. If you think about City in the last 5 years, Liverpool in the last 4 years, and just Chelsea since Tuchel's arrived, how often are you outplayed or beaten by teams who spend significantly less than you? It's a rarity. So your point's bang on, and I agree with it. My kind of overarching point I've been talking about on socials recently is how regularly teams like Man United in the last 8 years have been beaten by teams that spend 1/5 of us. That isn't acceptable to me because, like, if they can coach and rehearse and practice for us where they can outplay us, but we're spending 5 times the amount and we can't do it to them, that's like a major problem on a regular basis. But I do get you, Bo. And on the Mendy point, like I think, do you know what it is with Mendy? He kind of doesn't look good doing it. I don't know how that makes sense in my head. When I watch him, he makes these saves. They're not all like David De Gea makes saves.
A bit like Mo Salah on the wing.
Yeah, it doesn't look good doing it, but he's doing it. No, yeah, I don't think he's aesthetically pleasing. It's like he doesn't dive through the air like a cat and look kind of graceful, but he makes the saves, and I think he's absolutely brilliant on that point.
On form, he's the best keeper in the league.
You reckon?
On form right now, 100%.
Yeah, he is.
Right now on form.
I don't think any keeper is as good as him on form right now. I'm not saying he's better than Alisson and Ederson yet. I think they're the only two above him right now. But
yeah, I think on form, De Gea's up there as well. De Gea had another great day today as well. But look, in terms of the game, one thing I want to say about the Chelsea fans is that you need to put perspective into some of these performances. For example, Tuchel literally said, this is going to be a tough game coming back off the international break. I'm telling you now, Brentford, and do you know what? I'm a little bit in Igal's corner. Look, Brentford, for the teams that will play them in this early part of the season, they're not a bad team. They're a team that people are going to struggle to figure out. You look at the games that they've won this season. I didn't even realize that they had one of the best defensive records in the league. Like I haven't even paid any attention to them. I went back and looked at their results. You see that they've only lost to Brighton, other than today, I believe it was. So they're a good team. Like they're a team that's coached well, they're structured well. In terms of our performance, I think Loftus-Cheek again proved why he needs to continue starting. He was outstanding again till obviously the domination started to happen. I think Lukaku was poor. I think Werner actually had a better day than him. And look, I can always admit when my players aren't performing, and I think Lukaku didn't perform well today. And he's very lucky that open goal miss, or whatever you want to call it, was offside, because that could have been very, very awkward for him.
Yeah, mate, I totally get your point. I want to go through some of the talking points. A few of the super chatters came in with first of all. So one of the first major talking points today was, should Tony have had a penalty? So this was given as offside. For me, looked on.
I was gonna say wrong. No, it can't be look on if he was off.
Yeah, but it wasn't checked by VAR, so it wasn't checked. So I mean, is that on or off for you?
Everything gets checked
by VAR.
Everything gets checked, Terry.
Chilwell is playing him on. If you look back, I think that's
Chilwell's not.
One sec, guys. One at a time. So they check. That would have been checked to see whether he was or wasn't offside. But
it was checked.
When?
We just didn't see it. We
didn't see it. They don't show it anymore. It got checked.
I don't know whether 100% it got
Look,
checked,
let me.
I wouldn't see why it would be different.
David,
I don't think it was a pen anyway.
No. It was a pen. It was a pen, but that's the reason why it got checked, because he was offside and it was given by the linesman. It then gets checked by VAR in the offices. Like Paul Tierney, I think it was in the office. He checked it, and then it wasn't given. It was checked. It wasn't checked for a penalty. It was checked to see if it was offside, because I think the ref was going to give a penalty, and I think it was a penalty because even though it was soft, Chalobah's elbow comes across him, and any striker's gonna go down in that situation.
I just think, what's it for me? I don't. Anthony Taylor didn't. Even though we say he was going to give it, he didn't give it anyway. And then the way that they're doing VAR this year, it's got to be really, really
So I do get
contact.
that. I'm just reading things people have said, because I didn't hear in the comments. Again, one of the biggest mistakes they've made with VAR is not showing people. If they showed us the lines, then there is no debate. There's now debate because people are like, well, I don't trust what they're doing. I have read things from some people that seem fairly like in the know that because the penalty wasn't awarded, they didn't check, because you can't overturn the Lionos offside if nothing after the offside's given has been awarded. So the point is, if the linesman says it's offside but a goal's been scored, you can change the decision. If the penalty was given, but then the Liono said, no, it was offside, it can be changed. But because no pen was awarded, they didn't check. That's all I've read from people. I'm trying to ascertain, is that true? I don't know. So I'm trying to find that out.
My point is that Anthony Taylor didn't he had the whistle in his mouth, because I think he thought it was offside as well. I don't think he was going to give the pen anyway, because it was very, very light. And the way they're doing fouls this year, it's like, just because there's contact doesn't mean there's a foul. It's got to be genuine, a genuine foul for the ball.
Terry, I think they do check everything, but they don't show us everything, because if they show it to us, it creates more controversy in their eyes. So
maybe not even showing it, but I think that's where we need. Again, I know quite a lot of the laws. I don't know them all. Or the protocol. I'm just trying to ascertain or understand whether they checked it or not. Because normally you hear the commentators say they're checking, because they get a little thing in there. The commentators get a little box that says whether something's being checked. I just expect them to tell us essentially, and we didn't hear anything today. So yeah, I mean, viewers can have their thoughts on that. The other talking point, I want to go to Prime first on this one. 6 games now on the bounce. Lukaku hasn't scored, hasn't assisted. What's the fault from Chelsea supporters towards the kind of performances and form at the moment of Lukaku?
It's a bit of a problem, yes, because we bought him specifically to be scoring in these lesser games, because that was the big problem that we had. I think in that 6 games you mentioned, you can take out Man City and you can take out Juventus, in my personal opinion. But yeah, today against Brentford,
Sorry, let's go back. Why can you take them out?
Because what I'm going to say sounds bad. We bought him specifically just to be scoring in these against these lesser sides, against Man City and against Juve.
Hang on. Sorry. I can't let you keep talking. We've got to chat. So you only bought Lukaku to score against little teams?
No. Let me. I know what I'm saying sounds mad. Let me just correct.
Okay, I'll let you land it all. Sorry. I apologize. The loss against City and against Juve, I don't particularly put it down to him, because as a whole, we played poorly in those 2 games. So I can't say, oh, he didn't score, that's why we lost, or why we didn't draw, or whatever it is. But against, today it was just against Brentford, playing against Southampton, etc. These are the particular games where he should be scoring in. That's why we need him. In the bigger games, like we saw last season, we can beat them. We can beat these bigger sides without him, because we did. It's in the lesser sides where we've been struggling, and he needs to. I don't know if he's in a. This is just a little bit of a goal drought or whatever it is. I don't know, but he needs to kick back in now, because we do need him. There's going to come a game when, against a lesser side, when we don't score, and people are going to find reasons to blame him or to blame scapegoat Werner or whatever it is. He needs to do something to kick back in. I hear that. How about yourself? Like, I want to ask a sort of rival this kind of question here, Gal. Like, a lot of people are calling, small game Romelu, etc. Today you wouldn't call like a big game, but it's 6 games now without a goal or an assist. Would you be concerned as a Chelsea fan with his form?
I think Romelu Lukaku is a guy, you look back at the end of the season, you'll be like, you'll be surprised how much goals he actually gets. When he's going through a bad run of form, you have to look at the external factors. I'm looking at their team. They've had Ruben Loftus-Cheek in the team. They've had Conte in the team. They don't really have Jorginho or Mount or any of these other guys who'd create more chances. Last year, their issue was they were creating so much chances, Timo Werner wasn't finishing it. Now it seems like they've taken some of that creativity out of their squad to be more solid due to the fact that their defenders were injured in this game, being Rudiger and Thiago Silva. So I wouldn't be concerned. But the one thing that I would be concerned about, when he does get those chances, if he's not putting them away, that's when you start getting concerned, because he didn't really get too many chances today to say, hey, why isn't he putting them away? 2 opportunities. One was offside. The other one, he fluffed it, but I think it was offside also.
Yeah, I understand. How about yourself, David? I mean, you weren't keen on him, or you wanted someone else and you would rather have waited. Are you feeling shortchanged, or is it just a case of it's a little bit of a bad run, he's going to come good? Like, what's your take on it, mate?
It's tough because I want to give him time. But as I said, when you're 100 mil, you don't get time. That simple. You don't get time. I'm not saying like his career is finished or anything. He just needs to start scoring goals, because ultimately that's what he's there to do. He is contributing. Like when people say he doesn't do anything, it's like, no, that's not true. He's holding up the ball quite well. Again, literally for team Werner missed from just outside the box where he probably should score, and that's created from Lukaku holding up the ball up. So he's definitely contributing to this team. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, he's trash, get him out. But when you're a 100 mil striker, as I said, you've got to be performing week in, week out. And if you don't, then I have to seriously question, are you worth £100 million?
Yeah, I agree as well, man. Because like there was even the situation where Werner put through on goal and then he wanted to square it. And if he puts it in front of Lukaku, then Lukaku gets a goal. But obviously these little nearly moments aren't enough. Again, like you mentioned, when you cost 100 mil, you've got to be putting up the numbers. That's all people really want to see, rather than the performance. And I don't think he played bad. I just think when you're going through a goal drought and things aren't going your way, if you're not stat padding, as people like to call it, as the super chat says here, if you're not putting up an assist or a goal, then people kind of tend to ignore your performance. And in Lukaku's situation, yeah, he's got to put up more numbers. Like that's what he's there for, really. Like he's there to put up numbers, no matter the team. He's there to put up numbers. I think in Prime's point, I think Man City is the only game where I think the creativity as a whole has been lacking. Man City, I would say, is the only game where we didn't create at all, where he didn't even get one chance. But I think the creativity as a whole is lacking. Like you would know, like with many strikers, they want 3 or 4 chances a game. We're not currently creating that. However, Lukaku still needs to do better and maybe trying to fashion his own chances. I remember a little dribble on the edge of the box. I was saying, bro, just take it yourself, create your own chance and shoot. Like, don't lay it off to anyone else, innit? You know what I'm saying? I mean, top of the league, I don't mind.
Yeah, I agree. One of the guys, sorry, mate, one of the guys in the comments here, CFC Global, is like, Terry's creating agendas. I'm asking questions, bruv. Like, and I actually agree with what Daniel said there. I feel like the problem with Chelsea right now is actually creating opportunities rather than putting them away. You look at what Brentford created today, those gilt-edged chances. If Lukaku's getting those, if he was in a Brentford shirt today, Lukaku might have got a hat-trick. And that's what he needs. That is what he needs. And my fear for Lukaku would be, though, if that goes on too long, you then start snatching at chances because you don't know when the next one is coming. If you don't know when the next one is coming, that can lead to some issues there. But
I think it's simply just
I want to say one thing, though, when you're done.
I was just going to say, I think it's just simply because in the past couple of games, Tuchel hasn't stuck to what we're like actually good at. We were normally, last season, it was like 3-4-3. That's the only thing we do. 3-4-3, we do this. That's how it is. In the past couple of games, he's gone 3-4-3 with a bit something different. He's gone 3-5-2. He's put Aspie at wing back, stuff like that. He's kind of like tweaking or not too much, but like he's tweaking things depending on the opponent, which is what you should do. But like, obviously, when you tweak things, it has positives and negatives. So today, the whole point was to be really solid and not let Brentford, attack and get around you as much as they have done against other teams. However, you sacrifice your creativity today because you want it to be more solid at the back. So, it's that simple. I'm sure if we ever go down 2-0, we need to score goals. He'll go 4 at the back and he'll push, and he'll probably go like 40.
Yeah.
And then it will create more chance. It's just,
One of my members is sort of like, we're top of the league, and Terry's talking about Lukaku, make it make sense, because it's about looking beyond the end of of our noses. You can sometimes win games, but know there's still an underlying problem. For instance, David De Gea has been in great form this season, but that tells you my defense is getting opened up, and we're conceding chances, and at some point you get slapped. What happened today? We got slapped. If your team isn't creating chances for Lukaku, and that's what we've kind of, I think broadly on the show, we've kind of said it isn't really him, it's the team not creating. The follow-up question to that, and we'll go on to it in a minute when Igal says his point, is, are you concerned as Chelsea fans that although you're top, you could be overtaken by City and City and Liverpool because you're not creating the chances? If that's what the issue is, would that be a concern? But before we go to that question, Igal, what's your point?
Okay, so I have it's 2 things. First, let me just get the Brentford thing out of the way. Respect to Brentford, they dominated you guys the second half, but they did this to a lot of teams this season. Every team they played this season, even Liverpool, they had a better XG than them. They created more chances, more quality chances than them, and they created more quality chances than all their opponents. Prime, you're shaking your head, but yes, Brentford today created more quality of chances than you guys. In that second half, you guys did not create any chances. So I'm not slandering you guys.
And we defended and held them. This praise of Brentford, because Arsenal got battered by them and Liverpool could not defend against them. I'm not hearing that. Hold on. Liverpool, Chelsea, City, 3 teams who are meant to be challenging, if not winning the title, should be able to handle Brentford. No, I don't care what they try and come at us with.
But they
we should be able to handle Brentford. So I'm not hearing the excuses. I also don't believe in XG because it's not like it's fugazi as a stat.
This is you jumping in before I even finish.
No, because it's what everyone else has said as well.
Let me finish, and it will all make sense why I'm going into this sense, okay? When you have that type of situation, you need a top goalkeeper. And this is where I'm going with it. I wasn't making fun of Chelsea. I'm actually bigging up Mendy here. because I think I've come on here before and I've said Mendy's not world class. I'm not saying he's world class today. Even he's on world class form. For the time that he's been at Chelsea, he's been one of the best goalkeepers in world football, and it could be due to the fact Chelsea are very good.
When do you become world class? When do you become world class?
Let me finish. Right. I think at the moment, yes, he's been snubbed for not being on that list for the Ballon d'Or. He should have been considered for that also. The fact that he should be winning the major honors as a goalkeeper,
bro. When do you become world class?
When it comes to being world class, you have to do it consistently over a couple of years period. Right now, he's done it for Chelsea for last season. If he does it continuously for the rest of this season, then I can put him in that category.
Now, you haven't said anything. When do you become world class? What's a couple years?
I just said it. He has to do it consistently for more than 1 year. He's done it for one full calendar year. Let him do it again consistently. Then I'll say he's world class, because we did this for Bruno. We did this for a lot of players. Every time a player comes in and does well, we immediately say they're world class. He is on world class form. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. But he's not world class until he does it for a little bit longer.
Is Edison world class?
Edison has been doing it for 4 years.
That's not true, because he also had one bad year.
How many Golden Gloves does Edison have in the past couple of seasons?
So Golden Gloves now are just an award because of the keepers exploits.
No, my whole point is this: how long have you been achieving these things? How long have you been doing it at the top level? You can be a goalkeeper who's benefited from their system. You can be a goalkeeper who's a great shot stopper. But at the end of the day, longevity is what determines for me world class. It's not having small pockets and doing it for a short period.
Yet longevity thrown out the window when it comes to legendary talk.
No. But Terry, legendary. That's not my criteria.
I'm joking. I'm not having a go at you. It's mad. Every time longevity comes up, it makes me die, because it's only thrown out the window when the word Ryan Giggs or Paul Scholes gets mentioned.
No, but guys, don't take away. I'm not insulting Mendy.
It's just having a laugh. We're having a laugh.
No. I'm not talking about you. I think Daniel took it the wrong way. I'm bigging him up. I think he saved you guys 4 or 5 shots. They could have scored 4 goals easy. But at the end of the day, Mendy saved you guys. He's going to continue to save you guys the rest of the season. And if he does that, and you guys do go on to win major trophies, or even if you don't win major trophies, he's a key part why you guys are successful through the rest of the season. That's when I'll say he's world class. At the moment, I still think he's not reached that level yet.
There we go. In terms of the other stuff, like you're top of the league, as it says, top of the league, as you said there, David's gone. I'm not too sure. He's probably got a girl turn up to his room. A lady's turned up. She's like, I want to say, she might be doing whatever it is she's doing. I'm going to go to a different view because super chats don't like this. Actually, no, what I'll do, I've got to change the setting. If we go to 4 people, I have to change the settings. That pushes everyone up. I don't like covering people's faces. Like, Daniel, do you have any concerns about the lack of creativity? Like, you're top of the league. You're doing really well, but do you have any concerns like this could come back to haunt you at any point?
I think the concerns in terms of creativity are valid. I've been someone who said, and it's not even to make an excuse for Lukaku, I'm talking about all our strikers. I think all our half space players, so Mount, Havertz, Ziyech, Pulisic, no one is reliable right now. No one's reliable. No one's playing the final ball. The closest person, I think, to deserving a spot, and right now he's not even playing as one of those guys, is Loftus-Cheek. He's looking like the person who can be the person who can deliver a final ball, the person who can progress the ball well. But all of our half-space guys, no one we can rely on right now, which is a huge issue for us. I think Hudson-Odoi definitely needs to be given more of a chance. I think against Southampton, especially in that first half, he looked threatening. He created a number of chances for the attackers. It created more space. And this is what my thing as well. One thing I've always tried to explain to people is that when people say creativity, the first thing that comes to their head is Mata, David Silva, tens, little diminutive guys who can play like threaded balls. But it doesn't necessarily only have to be that. Dribblers are also creators, because dribblers attract 2-3 guys. Think about the gravity that Salah pulls. Salah's not a play 40-yard pinger which dissects a defense. No, what Salah does is he attracts 5-6 guys to the ball, where it takes so much attention away from the other guys. You've got Mane who's there, you've got Firmino who's got space. We need Lukaku to have space. We're talking about his touch. Bro, give Lukaku space, he will score.
Exactly.
You
Well, yeah,
need Mason Mount back.
Mason Mount will help with that. But you're so right. I saw United fans talking today, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and I'd rather us go long because passing for a press is dangerous. I'm like, mate, if 5 or 6 players are pressing you in your half and you pass past them, maths and physics and all the kind of science of the world tells you you've now got pure space behind you. Because if 5 or 6 of them are now behind a player, you've got space. Because there's only 11 players, one's in goal. Like, you've got to be brave enough to do it. And I think that, I totally agree with you. The dribblers and the players that attract individuals are important. You then just got to be brave enough to play through them there. I want to take some calls on this as well, people. Terry, that's amazing. That's why Grealish is amazing. Grealish is a brilliant player. Like, there's no doubt about it. He definitely attracts people. There's no doubt about it. It's all he is. There was a super chat that just came through there. It says, big up from San Diego, California. As a Chelsea fan, I enjoy your stream and your hilarious laugh. Keep it up and hope Man United get rid of Ollie. Chelsea. I mean, thank you for the last bit about the getting rid of Ollie, because I do hope and I do pray that happens. Let's take some more calls right now. We're going to go to man like Bash. Bash is coming on here. Big Chelsea fan, big contributor to the Tariff. How you doing, bro? You're on mute if you're trying to talk, my brother. Okay, maybe he's not ready. So we're going to go to Ed. Ed's now on the show. Ed's a Chelsea fan.
Oh, what's up, Terry?
How you doing? What do you want to say, bro?
Yeah, about Mendy. If people have been watching the French league, this is Mendy. That's what he does. Like when we signed him, I went and watched his highlights. He looks funny when he's saving, but you can't score against him. That's how good he is. He's not world class. He will never, because circumstances, but he's good. He's really good, and he will win us matches. Then for Oli, man, let's pray for you guys so that you get rid of him, because he's the only person keeping you from winning anything. He won't win anything, man. He won't.
I know.
Yeah, he won't. It's
Thank
really,
you.
it's really
This. I know I built a really nice Chelsea sort of contingent on the terrace, and they're all being so nice to me. It's amazing. Thank you very much. Nicer to me than the Man United fans.
No. Because we've been watching you for quite some time, so we know.
Wait, hold on.
Really...
You said Mendy, he's not world class, and he will never be. Why do you say that?
No, he won't be called world class by social media, but he is.
Won't be called. Yeah.
He is.
I would never have. I would never. Yeah. It's you know what it is. It's a fashionable. Do you know what might happen in like 2 or 3 years' time? It will be cut. The Overton window will move, and praising Mendy, because I saw it today from so many, not a few Liverpool fans, but mainly non-Liverpool fans. I didn't know this Mo Salah existed. Yes, you did. It just wasn't fashionable to praise him. Therefore, you didn't praise him. Now it's fashionable. You're doing it because you want to get those likes, people. You know what I mean? It's true. It is. It's all about doing what. Do you know what it is with me? I will never say something I don't believe in just for the attention of it. And but then at the same time, I love that Mo Salah's getting his praise and his flowers now, but it kind of annoys me, like sharing that praise with him with all these people that I know are only here because it's fashionable. I'm like, I don't want, you ain't proper fans. Do you know what I mean? It annoys me.
Terry, this is my point about the Mendy situation. I don't know if it was on this platform where I said it. It might have been on another podcast, but I literally said, no one's. I knew you were gonna do that. I knew you were gonna do that. No one's said how is Mendy not in the top 30. I was literally saying it's not to discredit Donnarumma. Donnarumma's had a good
top 30
players in the world.
Oh,
for the Ballon d'Or.
I was wondering.
Why yeah, exactly. Relax. Anyway, I don't know how Mendy's not on the list. And obviously everyone was like, oh yeah, that's a good shout. But no one was fighting Mendy's corner the way they're tweeting about him now. And it took a world class. This is my thing. Why does it have to take something so out of the ordinary and something so extraordinary for you to then sit down and be like, okay, cool, this is where it's at? Do you know what I mean? Fam, how many times have we said the Salah thing? Like, we've known he's good. Like, someone's even trying to discredit me for saying what's it called? That I said Van Dijk's Liverpool's best player. Look, I still stand by that. I think Salah is just on right now. His form is in a place where he's arguably the best player in the world. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, bro, the Mendy thing for me is just crazy. People just discredit or underrate is the right term. People underrate stability, and like competence. Mendy doesn't need to be flashy. He doesn't need to take the headlines every single week.
Totally agree. Sorry, Prime. We're going to get some more calls so we can get through them. Ro here says, this is a lie. People forget we had the same team with Lampard. Even Mendy was there and we used to concede goals. It's time to respect Tuchel. Today he had Sarr and Chalobah. Of course, everybody respects Tuchel, bro. Ro, everybody does. They know that the system and the manager are so important. In relation to that, somebody says, yeah, Terry, but you do clickbait every day. Yeah, of course I do. It's called a headline, bro. But I'm talking irrespective of what you think of the titling of one's content. What I speak about and what I say is based on how I feel. I don't wake up and go, right, what lie can I make up today to trigger people? Too grown, too old, probably, and actually a little bit too boring for that, really. I just ain't got the energy, my guy. But thank you for always watching. Mendy doing it at the highest level, world class. That's not true. Mane did an interview saying exactly what you're saying about Mendy. I mean, I didn't see that interview. Maybe that's the thing. Next on the show to call in, we're gonna have Eerie. Hang on, I want to check something first before I put him on. I need to check something first. He's in a bad mood because they got beat 2-0 by Wickham today. Donny James is in the house. What you saying, Donny James?
I'm doing good. First of all, 80s retro kit. I got that ordered today, which is good. So yeah, I quite like that, to be fair. Yeah, interesting one. Second half, Chelsea defended well. I think Brentford, as they usually do, did put up a pretty good fight. I think everyone can say that Brentford put up a good fight. It was only one. I think that's a good thing for Brentford. It was only one from a promoted team's point of view, but for Brentford, I could see them being the surprise of the season, like what Sheffield United did in their first season back. They could finish higher than people expected. From a Chelsea point of view, you don't always have to batter teams every week. That's what champions do. That's what potential champions do. They like to grind out results sometimes. So overall, I think that Chelsea did well today as well. I think that the screamer from Chilwell was sublime. And yeah, I think that Chelsea will progress from this week after week. I think this is only a blip for Brentford. They can just move on now to the next week and get a victory in their next game. So yeah, I think that Tuchel did well today, but I think that Brentford have still got to hold their head up high, and it should be pretty good. And yeah, I saw your little thing with the 2-0 defeat today. I got nothing to say.
I mean, I've got nothing to banter you about, bro.
7 points from 11 games is not good enough.
We conceded 15 seconds after equalising. I hadn't even, because I was so happy because I had all my Marcus Rashford prop ready. Like, put respect on his name, feeding kids, scoring goals. Say, literally, do you know what I mean? Feeding Ollie's kids, keeping him in a job. And then our defense let him down.
We considered both goals in the space of 17 minutes, and then we didn't provide any attack whatsoever.
I hear you, bro. Listen, Donny James, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Love it, bro. Thank you very much indeed. Top man. Thank you. Let's try and do a few more calls. Bash is back with us now. Bash, you there, bro?
How you doing, Terry? How are you?
Yeah, I'm very, very well, thank you. What have you phoned in to say, my friend?
I wanna talk to the Chelsea fans, to be honest. First of all, I'm an Inter fan. I watch a lot of Premier League, but I'm a super Inter fan. First of all, Daniel, Anthony Taylor did the same mistake with the second goal of Mbappe against Spain. Did they check that offside? They didn't. I don't know. Maybe they did, or maybe they didn't. That was not offside, and that was a penalty, clear. And I want to talk to the Chelsea fan about Lukaku. I saw Lukaku in the Italian league. When he came, I was happy, and I was gutted when he left. Lukaku is perfect for the Italian league. He's not good in the Premier League. He's not gonna do well. It's not. I saw Lukaku run, confront defenders, doing 1-2s, scoring waldies, scoring penalties, did everything. In the Premier League, it's too tough for him. We saw him not doing it in Manchester United. It's not his league. He's a good player, but he's not a 100 million player. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
What's your response to that, Dan?
You're on mute.
You're on mute, my bro.
I don't think Anthony Taylor, as much as I don't really like him, I don't think Anthony Taylor is the guy who decides offsides. Like, I don't think that's the case. I think his landsman was the one who gave the offside. So that's when he obviously corroborated with that. In my opinion, obviously Terry's given his side of things, and obviously I hear that actually makes sense as well. But in my opinion, I think what happened was it actually got checked to see if it was offside, and I think it was given as offside. That's why the offside call stood. But I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong. But I thought it was a pen. So I thought if it was onside, which I thought they checked, I thought they were going to give the penalty as well because I thought it was a pen. In terms of the Lukaku statement, look, I'm even tired of talking about it. I've simply said Lukaku is a striker who needs chances to be created for him. If he's not creating chances, he looks like a passenger in his team. Yes, 100 million might not be an excuse. I'm not even trying to pass it as an excuse. I think Lukaku does need to maybe sometimes do it himself and maybe learn something new, do something maybe he hasn't done before, and sometimes take chances himself. So, at the end of the day, for me, Lukaku can succeed in this team, but it's left for the team and some of the other players around him to take more responsibility. I just find it interesting when Lukaku was scoring week in, week out, people were saying he's not getting enough from some of the guys behind him. Now Lukaku's not scoring, we're ignoring the guys behind him. The common denominator is the guys behind him. They haven't changed. They haven't improved. It's just that now Lukaku's low has happened. It's more evident to the eye because we're not focusing on the guys who are supposed to be supplying him. So
yeah, I think, do you know what I would say? And Bash, I completely respect you and a big contributor towards the terrace. I would just say this: if Chelsea were creating the chances and he was missing them in these games, if he was damaging the attacks, then I think that's when you'll see me criticize him. Right now, I know there's 6 games without a goal, but I still feel like I need to see more from Chelsea from a creative point before I look at Lukaku. It's people keep saying it about Ronaldo. He's damaging the team. We ain't creating anything. We ain't doing anything. And if we're creating lots of chances and he's not scoring and he's not contributing, then I'll say something different. But Bash, top man, thank you very much, mate. Sorry, my friend, I've got one more call before the show ends, mate. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate all your help you give us, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Top man. Thank you. Ro here says Lukaku doesn't need to score 2 goals per game. If Chelsea win and Lukaku had 5 touches per game, I am happy. Ike says today's win was about squad depth and grit. Wasn't pretty, but that's what title contenders do. They win ugly. Nice to see my boys showing some still. Last call we're taking of the day is going to be Slens. Slens is back with us here. What are you saying, bro?
Yes, bro. Hope you can hear me, man.
Yeah, perfect. What do you want to say, my friend?
Yeah, bro, just regarding Lukaku, man, when he was in his good form, when he was shining in the beginning of the season, he was scoring 3 goals out of 5 big chances created. And we were all praising him and saying incredible. But I was saying, listen, this is not sustainable. He's not necessarily a clinical striker, right? He's not. I don't think in his career he's always been this clinical striker who scores from 1 or 2 chances. So for me, this is an issue that has been there since he's arrived. And his form will continue to kind of suffer if we don't create chances for him. And you know what? This brings me on to Tuchel as well very quickly because I looked at this win as kind of a two-headed sword because in one way you say to yourself, okay, this is a champion's result, not performance. It's a champion's result. And getting 3 points out of the stadium is incredible because the way they played in the second half is incredible. But on the other hand, you look at it we were kind of riding our luck. And I don't want us to ride our luck too much because, listen, Lady Luck will come back and bite you. And to me, I think Tuchel has to kind of... I hope he doesn't reach this point, but he's going to have to reach a point, I think, in his Chelsea career as a coach. Is he going to sacrifice the structure to help us with our creativity in terms of the 3 at the back, in terms of adding another forward or midfielder? Or is he going to stick to it and possibly face this problem more and more? And we might face a couple of results where we end up losing because we're not creating enough chances. So I'm just worried about that we might reach that stage. I hope not. I know we're top of the league now, but you got to look at the issues that might arise.
Yo, Slans, I think the simple answer is just play Mason Mount instead of Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
It's not that simple because when Mason Mount was in our team, we faced the same issues. I know people like to give one person the air of being our savior, but that's not how football works, man. We've had this issue with or without him. And even last year, there was shades of it. People were ignoring it. In the league, we still suffered in terms of scoring goals. When Tuchel was here, We played the smaller teams. We played Southampton away 1-1. We played Brighton at home 0-0. Like, these things were there before. People just ignored them because of the Champions League, which is fair enough.
Okay,
but the issues were there.
But what about going back to the back three with the four in the mid 3-4-3, and you have Mount on the right, you have Timo on the left, and they're more going to be providers because Timo Werner got your most goal contributions last season, and Mount was one of your best players. So if you have those two on either side of Lukaku with the similar midfield of either Jorginho, Conte, Kovacic, Conte, or Conte, Jorginho, with the two wing backs, that's enough creativity.
That's not true. That's not true, Gal, because obviously this is another thing, and I come back to it, and I am actually going to be a bit like critical of a lot of rival fans. Obviously, I understand banter, but if we want to talk football, let's talk football. Like, the only reason, for example, sorry to divert, Mendy got the credit that he got today is because we played in a 5:30 game where everyone was watching. If this was a 3 p.m. game, Chelsea fans would say it, but no one else would care about it. It's the fact that the world was watching. So in terms of what Igal was saying, sorry, very quickly, Terry, in terms of what Igal was saying, last season we never figured out, Slens would know, we never figured out how to beat low blocks. We never figured out how to beat them convincingly. So look, let me say it straight here, like, not even to be critical of Chelsea too much, but Lukaku hasn't joined a better attacking unit. Inter Milan are a more cohesive attacking unit than Chelsea Football Club.
Daniel, can I just add to you really quickly? Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Really quickly. Listen, Lukaku put on a Belgium shirt on the weekend, yeah?
Bro!
And listen, against France,
bro,
that pass that Kevin De Bruyne played to him, it doesn't get played in a Chelsea shirt. It doesn't get played to him.
It's not rocket science. I understand. The banter towards Lukaku can happen. That is guaranteed to happen, and that's fine. But then when we now bring it to a level where we actually want to understand what is going on, why is this happening, there are reasons and factors as to why. Yes, Lukaku could do more to create and fashion chances with himself, like I've repeated countless of times today. But the players, Kovacic today, the final ball, bro, he's reverted back to what he was doing last season. What's it called?
Daniel, bro, really quickly, listen. We have a history at Chelsea as well. People need to understand. People always say you ruin strikers, and you know what? There's truth in that because we don't build around them. We don't. As a club, we sign marquee signings. Fernando Torres. You can go back in the past and pick out many names. This is another example. Build around the striker. He's 100 million.
Just as a final
creators
point.
around him. Put creators around him. Let him shine.
Just as a final point, because I'm even tired of talking, fam. Look, at the end of the day, Chelsea need to figure out how to get the best out of Lukaku and get the best out. And there's a way to do that. In being more cohesive and in understanding what we need to do. I just find it so interesting how the narrative has slightly changed. In the first couple of weeks of the season, Lukaku was scoring 2 goals from 1 chance created in a game. Obviously, that's a joke for those who didn't get it. Scoring 2 goals from 1 chance, and we were saying this isn't sustainable. There were people saying this isn't sustainable. Now the lull has happened. What was expected? But now it's Lukaku's fault. It's the 100 million.
Yeah, do you know? I would say on the rival chat, I've 3 years running now. I haven't missed any of the big 6 games, even like League Cup ones against crap teams I don't want to watch, but I have to watch them, and that's why it's mad as well. Because sometimes people are like, well, you brought up the Lukaku thing because I see it trending. I've got my opinion, but the Terrace is different from other YouTube channels. It isn't just about my opinion. I ask the questions because I actually want your views. But yeah, the Lukaku stuff's interesting. The jury's out in terms of how good his Chelsea career is going to be because he's 7-8 games into it. But
sorry,
I think...
sorry, bro.
Yeah, go on, mate. Go
quickly. I didn't really get an answer from you guys in terms of what I said. Like in terms of Tuchel, I want to know if you guys had shared the same opinion. Do you think we will reach a point in his career, in Chelsea career, as a coach, where he'll have to pick between defensive structure and creativity? Because I think I'm not saying changing formation will solve all of our problems, but having an extra outlet in terms of midfield, in terms of being a creative outlet, it could solve our problems. And having 3 defenders obviously doesn't allow us to do that. So I don't know what you guys think about this, but that's just my perspective.
I think we will eventually evolve from the back 3 or back 5, whatever you want to call it. But as of this season, or the start of the season up until now, a lot of our creators are not in form. Like with Mount and Havertz, they're not in form. So that's a big detriment to providing for Lukaku. I think maybe next season or next season or the season after, if he's still here, we will adapt to playing a back. We will adapt to a back four. But I think a lot of it depends on personnel that we have.
Let me just say this, Slens. I think this simple thing is we know Thomas Tuchel's somebody who tinkers with the lineup and will change things around. He's done it all over his career, so I think he is already thinking about that. He probably will do major changes, but will he go back to a back four? I don't know about that. He might try different forms of the back three before he does that, in my opinion.
There we go. By the way, something's just come up as a film to watch. I didn't know that Purple Rain by Prince, obviously we know was a film. I never knew that. Sorry, it's just random, very random thing to say on a football stream. Just come on my screen there. I didn't know it was a film.
Is that a song?
Yeah, forget about it. Just
sorry, I can't. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I just random had to say. I didn't know. Anyway, everyone who's tuned in, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. All of my super chatters, thank you. Roger sent another super chat in there. These Chelsea fans don't watch the whole game. When Lukaku came off, we became more weak at set pieces. Lukaku offers more. That's actually true. I did actually think there was a regression after that substitution. Very, very true, Ro. Do me a big favor and hit the like button, share, subscribe. Over 527 new subscribers today, which is an amazing achievement. So thank you. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again